We learned that
Did you pack the park backwards in too, so you didn't get out fast?
I'm going to sit in the front.
All right. Usually I have a PowerPoint that's not working, and I like to have visuals so you to see. So what's going to happen is you're going to start writing notes very ferociously. I would prefer that you didn't do that, because when you write, you stop listening. I will email you. There is a list back there. Everything I have, including my presentation. I am very good when I say, now write this down. It's like a note to go back and look at. For the people that are writing notes, I'll give you a website, or I'll give you, Google this when you get home so you get a note. But if you start writing lots of stuff, especially when I don't have a PowerPoint, you're not looking at anything, then you stop hearing what I say and you start missing stuff. So I have no secrets. I'll share it. I have a lot of flyers in the back, a lot of information. I promise you, there's everything I've got. I've got so much information. I will make sure that if you want it, you have it. So don't panic. We'll make sure that you get it. I'm very good at communicating that. Am I loud enough? Are y'all hearing me okay? Okay, because I told them I'm usually pretty loud. I don't blow microphones out. Usually I tell people my background just to validate. He did that a lot for me. Yes, I did speak to your House and your Senate. And the one thing is, I'm not an internet groupie. I mean, yes, I'm on the internet, but I didn't get my knowledge from that. I got my knowledge from Dr. Kaufman, who did this map, and I'll explain this. He's been fighting this 20 plus years. He's an ecologist with a PhD, and I also got a lot of my information from Tom DeWeese. If you came and heard him speak, he is American Policy Center. He's been fighting this for 25 plus years. I'm listed on his speaker bureau. If you email me, he has a new kit that's amazing. A lot of the information of that kit came from me and Don Casey and John Anthony and my partner Karen Bracken, who heads up the National Coalition for Agenda 21. And so, we are very good about getting information out to anybody who wants it. So I just try to validate myself, just because, there's a lot of people out there saying a lot of things. The second thing that I tell people is I usually come with a warning, a disclaimer. Two things are going to happen. This is not going to be a pretty conversation. You're going to walk out of here and your life's going to be changed, because you're going to learn some information you prefer not to learn. Two things happen. You either shut down, put a tinfoil hat on me, and I need to make one so I can do a joke. Tinfoil hat, she's crazy, she's nuts, and walk out the door and shut down. A lot of people do that and understand that. And what's really funny is I always pray before I speak that people hear what I say, they know it is the truth, and they go out and do it and have the power to my words. And you almost prayed my exact prayer that I'm like, Lord, he is praying my prayer. So God bless you. We have double power here. The other part of you will understand that what I say is the truth, that God will give you the power to go out and share it with other people. And I'll share some of those thoughts with you at the end. So I'm going to try, since we don't have anything to look at but me, to be entertaining. I'll do it a little sarcastic, just to keep you awake so you won't get bored, and I will not be reading. So we'll get this show on the road. I have lots of props, too, to share. In fact, I'll probably put them on that table right there. The first thing, Agenda 21. When I started speaking, I never explained it. I just assumed everybody knew. Agenda 21 is the UN's agenda for the 21st century. Now, a lot of people go, oh, UN. I don't care about the UN. We're in the United States. We better start rethinking that, people, because the people that are running the administration, the UN is where they're taking directive from. And if you did not see the thing about Panetta and Jeff Sessions, I passed that around. He distinctly tells Congress that the military takes their orders from UN and NATO. Surprise, surprise. Not Congress, not we the people. In fact, I'm waiting any day for Obama, up here, we're good, Obama to just dismiss Congress, because actually I think he needs to. They're absolutely doing nothing. They're potted plants, and they need to go home. And let we the people throw out their usurpers and get going.
Amen.
So the UN's plan is to take away all our rights that we know them. Individual rights, property rights, gun rights, and parental rights. It's all addressed in that. Okay.
They're nearly through.
Yeah, they're very close to the whole end. And I'll address that issue at the end too. Okay, this is how the UN plans to circumvent our U.S. Constitution. It is very scary how they are making laws left and right like our Constitution never existed. Obama, the reason that I basically stopped what I'm doing and have done nothing but this since August 13th, the day my life changed when I sat down with Dr. Kaufman, is because Obama in June 4th through 8th of this year will be in Rio celebrating the 20th anniversary of the Earth Charter that Bush signed in 1992. Now, the one thing I say about Agenda 21, we all have Democrat liberal friends. I have family. And the one thing that can unite us in this country as Americans is Agenda 21, because I don't care if you're a liberal, Democrat, what you are, who you are, you want the rights to your your property and your labor. This will take all of that away. This is pure communism. And if we can wake up enough Democrats, in fact, I have a book by Rosie Corey, it's $14. This is a write-down note. Behind the Green Mask, UN Agenda 21, it's by Rosa Corey, Koire. She actually has a website called Democrats Against U.S. Agenda 21. And that's another thing to write down. Democrats Against UN, spell out UN, Agenda, and then 21, the number.com. This is a great site to mail your liberal Democratic friend. Hey, go to Democrats Against UN Agenda 21. This is something that we must start crossing lines and talking. We can't keep preaching to the same people. This is one thing, whether it's parental rights, if you've got a big mama bear, you need to be talking about parental rights. If you've got problems with children in the school system and what's going on, that's Agenda 21 and dumbing down our children. Okay. When I started first doing this, God help the first people I first did this to. I was actually speaking on the Constitution. I had Cuban Americans in my brand who are the most loyal patriots ever. And they called me up on a Saturday morning. I spoke to them on Thursday and said, will you talk about Agenda 21? We have about 150 people on August 19th. And this was like July 29th. And I went, sure. And hung up the phone and went, what in the heck is Agenda 21? Yeah, I never heard of it. So I called up my girlfriend Karen, don't know why. She actually saw me speak for the first time I ever speak on gold and silver, and she met with me and we became kind of patriot buddies in arms. I called up Karen and said, do you know what this is? She goes, oh my God, I'm sitting right here trying to figure out if we can fly Dr. Kaufman to Milton, Florida. I'm like, where's Milton, Florida? And she goes, in the Panhandle. I'm Florida, I'm born in Florida, never heard of Milton, Florida. And he's this Agenda 21 expert. I said, Karen, I don't care what it costs, split it, let's do it. So Karen, we fly him down there, and Karen drives to Tennessee to my house in Jacksonville. We drive to Milton, Florida, and she starts telling me the whole way down there what's going on. I'm like, oh, you're crazy, Karen, that's not happening. So a lot of my stuff, and I'll tell you, my conversation is we had dinner with Dr. Kaufman. We picked him up from the, I almost said the hospital, the airport. Should have been the hospital. The airport, had dinner with him. He enlightened me, and then we spent all day with him speaking and doing this conference in Milton, Florida. And I walked out of there, and I looked at Dr. Kaufman, and I said, I'm stopping everything I'm doing, and this is all I'm going to do. Because right then we had barely a year. It was August 13th. I was in front of the Cuban Americans at August 19th. I came home, I called all my clients, I canceled everything. I locked myself in my room and I watched every video, read every book that I could get my hands on from Dr. Kaufman, and came out to the Cuban American Club just blasted. But Marco Rubio got called by Sunday at 12 noon and I spoke Saturday morning, so something worked. And he's also behind it, just so you know. He's got his finger in it. So that's how I first started with Agenda 21. And what I learned is in speaking, I came out and talked all about Agenda 21. But if you don't know, and I call it bring it on home, if you don't start talking about, like I said Agenda 21, but I never explained that was the UN's agenda. Well, there's something else that I didn't explain properly and had to learn, and Dr. Kaufman taught me this, and the information I'm going to tell you comes from Dr. Kaufman, is private property and private property rights. We all hear that, just like I'm ashamed to say I hated history, and Constitution, yeah, we got that. And the Bill of Rights, we had that. But if you said Second Amendment to me, I'm not sure I would have gone right to bear arms. If you said First Amendment, I wouldn't have said right to gather, freedom of press, right for freedom of religion. I would know we had freedom of religion, and I knew we could gather. I knew we had no illegal search and seizures, but I didn't know it was the Fourth Amendment. So private property is in that same category. We all hear about private property, but we really don't understand it. And I'm going to have to walk you through some stuff about private property that'll kind of blow your mind, and then you'll understand why this is so important, because what we truly fight here is the battle to retain all our private property. And when I say that, I mean our intellectual property, our property as parents to have the rights to decide what happens with our children, our schooling, and of course our physical property. Now, I'm going to back up and I'm going to explain something. How do you take a country from capitalism to communism? Now, what's amazing is, and I'm not saying I'm a Romney fan, but Romney stood on the debate stage and said, since when did capitalism become a bad word? Does anybody remember that? I mean, we were attacking capitalism. Okay, that's the part of having to take your country from capitalism to communism. The first step is you must limit all natural resources. That is what is going on with the Keystone Pipeline, shutting down permits in the Gulf Coast that Mobil or Exxon, I forget which one, is suing. The coal plants that Chris Christie's shutting down left and right, the energy power plants, not doing nuclear, and the term fracking. Fracking is a process that they use to get oil and natural gas out of the earth. It's completely safe, and it's good. But they're attacking fracking to shut it down, so we can't, because they're about got us cut off from oil. So now they've got to cut us off from natural gas. Now, there was a movie, most of you probably haven't seen it, called Gasland. It came out about how bad fracking is. I met a woman 2 weeks ago named Anne Mulcahy. She's from Ireland, and she came over here on a visa, and she's raising money. Here's another writing point. Frack, F-R-A-C-K, nation.com. That is her website. She is doing a documentary. She came flying over here, got a work visa, put up a website. Within 11 days, she raised $100,000. When I donated last week, she had $165,000. She is going to produce the documentary that's going to clean this up and put Gasland back in its box where it belongs. Because here's what she told me. She said, if you think for 1 minute that all these countries out there aren't fighting for you Americans, because we see very clearly what's going on, if you go down, we go down. She did other documentaries of this, I call it, this is my term, ecoism, like fascism, communism, Nazism, ecoism, okay? I'll get into that. So if you want to donate, if you give $1, you get listed as one of her producers, and she has till April something, she's got to start rolling film. I'm an ad agency, and I deal with a lot of film and TV, so that was interesting to me. So she also told me something else I did not know. Mineral rights. We are the only country in the world that has mineral rights. And what that means is if I have a piece of property and you have a piece of property and they find oil on you and natural gas on me, we get to get money and revenue. And every other country in the world, you get kicked off your property and the government comes in and takes it. That's how they build wealth. In this country, for Americans and for the country, is natural resources. I'm telling you, the next bill that was going to come after we destroy fracking and all our sources is mineral rights, destroying that. The second way, okay, first is limit all natural resources. So we know we're doing that, right? We're in agreement. 2, limit your rights to privacy. Can you say TSA in your underpants? Okay, guys, that has nothing to do with security. Making a woman breast pump her milk in a private thing to make sure it's a breast pump, because she dumped the liquid because she was afraid they would freak out because she had milk in bottles over 4 ounces. They were 8-ounce bottles. And taking invalids and grandmothers and going through their diapers. Guys, that's nothing about security. That is conditioning government employees in your underwear. Teaching your children that they have no rights to privacy in their body. And that Americans don't stand up and go, H-E-double-L, toothpick, no. The Patriot Act, that's again about your privacy and not being able to move your money out of America. Wow, what a surprise. Socialized medicine. Okay, all 3 of those have been done. The 4th one is abolish private property. And that's why I'm going to do some background on private property and why you must teach people why it's so important that we fight to keep all this. So how do you build wealth? Dr. Kaufman asked me across the table. I said, I have a job. He said, no, you don't. How many people have a job and don't have wealth? I went, oh my God, you're right. He goes, private property. It's how you build wealth. You take that, you go and you have a job, you buy a house, you take a home equity loan, you use that to go do a business, put a kid through college, he gets better, gets a better job, you go buy a business, you take a loan, you sell the business in retirement, you take that money and you live off of it. You use property to build wealth. That is why we're seeing an attack on property. Remember the words you're hearing all of a sudden, we must redistribute the wealth?
Oh, yeah.
That really means we must redistribute poverty. And I'm serious. This is why, and by the way, let me just throw something at you. Pro-choice, pro-murder.
Exactly.
But we're going to label it pro-choice. And it's premeditated murder because we're going to make an appointment.
Yeah.
So when you start using the words, and by the way, I usually also do a disclaimer, I use the F word and C word, fascism and communism in this room. There's no such thing as socialized anything. It is the sugar that makes the medicine go down for communism. Start using the words. When somebody comes to me, oh, I'm pro-choice, oh, you're pro-murder. They shut down, they don't say a word. What if we said that Obama is pro-choice or pro-murder, and what he's doing to our debt, he's pro-slavery? Because isn't that what's going to happen? So if we did bumper stickers that said Obama's pro-murder and pro-slavery, we'd shut him down. Words are very powerful. I have a degree in NLP, hypnotherapy, neuro-linguistic programming, and how you use words. Words are the most powerful thing we have. Second is